This is the Bar Steward's Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
And a very warm welcome to the Bar Steward's Enquiry Weekend Podcast. It's the Tolworth Hurdle weekend at Sandown, action at Wincanton as well on the telly box for you ITV sports fans. Joining me tonight is my absolutely crack judges and panellists. Always John Leng is with me. We're not crack, we're rubbish, me and John. But joining us tonight...
Crack.
He's been absent a while. Breeders' Cup was his last one, but he's chomping at the bit. Jack Veach. Good evening, Jack.
Good evening, Lee. Good to be back.
Yes, indeed. I'm looking forward to the flat, but road to Doncaster, hashtag. Anyway, yes. And also, last year's Naps King bidding to go back to back. Hopefully he does, because then I'd have to pay Quentin Franks out if he comes. Yeah. So come on, Andy, because I'm out of form. I'm tailed off. Good evening, Andy Richmond.
Good evening. You did say crap, not crack, didn't you?
Yeah, it's exactly.
Not been in the greatest of form so far, I must admit. But
no, none of us. John's doing best out of three of us that's on. Obviously, this is Jack's maiden voyage on this winter scene. Right, it's best bets round. For listeners that haven't listened before, this is the round where we give our 3 handicaps 1, 2, and 3 points, and then we move and talk crap about the TV races. So, will you press blue or pink on our selections, or will you be tickled pink after we land lucky 15s galore this weekend? Right, Jack Veach, you've been away for so long, you can kick us off.
I have indeed. Well, you probably expected me to come on here and tip a load of all-weather scrapply, which I will be doing shortly. But I've got a rare bet over the sticks, and it actually comes on Sunday at Nace. I'm reliably informed it's Nace, not Nas. I've made that mistake before.
It's very nice, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and the horse in question goes on the 220, which is the Grade 1 Lawless of Nace Novice, and that's Irish Point. So I do like this horse a lot, actually. So he ran a very good second last time out in the Royal Bond to a horse called Marine Nationale, who, on a separate note, is one I really like for the Supreme. I thought it was very clear that day. Horse was just crying out for a step up in trip. He got beat on the line by the quicker horse, but galloped through it absolutely fine. He'll get a good test here over 2.5. I've checked it's already down as soft, but I think we're probably going to be looking at closer to heavy based on the rain they're having there. And I looked at how it opened up. You've got the Willie Mullins Cheveley Park Hot Pot, who's always going to be well found, opening up at sort of 5-4, 11-8. And I saw Irish Point go in at sort of 4s, 9-2. And I personally just made those two a lot closer than that. He's already got the beating of the third horse, Champ Kylie, from that run I mentioned last time out. And I just thought, the step up in trip combined with, coming on for another run, I think they'll see this horse improve a lot, to be honest. And I think this is always quite a good pointer towards the Ballymore. And I see this horse being part of that picture. But hopefully he can get the job done for us on Sunday. 1 point win.
1 point win. Lovely selection in a cracking renewal. 9-2 with Sky Betfair and Paddy Power. And I know a lot of our Irish listeners will be listening intently at that, because that's obviously their main race of the weekend, and an exciting one at that. Thank you, Jack, for kicking us off. Andy Richmond.
Right, we're going to Newcastle. I'm going for the 158 horse called Gentleman de Mai for Rose Dobbin. I've been after this horse, well, not for a long time, but the last 2 runs have certainly been eye-catching. The 5th of 13 at Kelso, where they didn't really go quick enough for Gentleman de Mai, was the first race that piqued my interest. Over 2.5 miles on good to soft under Craig Nicol. It was the day that Sandy Thompson had his 4-timer on the race with Pavlik. But he certainly looked as though, I think he's probably one for fences, but I still like his pedigree. He's going up through the grades again here. That was in a 0-105. And then he ran in a 0-115 last time out, where I probably once again didn't go quick enough for him, or he needed a stiffer test of stamina. But it was a pretty decent race as well. The race was won by Charm Offensive, who's since run very well. She's a very consistent mare. The second was Whistle in the Dark, who won over fences next time out for the excellent Laura Morgan. And the fifth home was Jet Legs. And do watch this horse for the future. If you want a race to watch it, go and watch his run at Ayr. I think it was on Monday or Tuesday this week. Certainly very, very eye-catching. Jet Legs. He needs 3 miles. Came from absolute mile back. But Gentleman Demai ran in that race. He was third. Again, shaped well. They've stepped him up in trip again. It's not the easiest race, but then, stepping him up in grade. But I think off this low weight and as test of stamina, should get a decent gallop this time. I think about a point, about 9-2, or maybe a little bit of 5-1. Gentleman Demai in the 158.
7-2 with Denise's best now.
Oh, they've been smashed me up all afternoon then.
Absolutely, that's it. Whoever if you've told anyone they've been in.
It's got that little devil on my shoulder, looking over my shoulder some afternoons. Yeah. Well, I'll have to take that then. But I think you probably, if you are going to back it, I should certainly hold off and try and back it on the exchanges and try and back it a little bit in running as well, because I think he certainly needs a test of stamina, but he's certainly a horse to keep on side, certainly when they stick him over fences as well. He's got that make and shape of a chaser. Good
stuff, Andy. Good start so far. Jonas Leng, I can feel your passion for the sport ripping out of your chest. You can feel it over the airwaves, John. You're so excited for this weekend.
Indigestion and a Gaviscon. Andy was saying about horses getting smashed up. This one that I've tipped, I think we've got more leaks than Harry and Meghan.
Well, I did win a prize with my brother
on 10 at Lingfield.
Yeah.
Now, this one, you can't dispute this is well handicapped, and he's a course winner. He's been to plenty of other tracks since his last foray around here, and returned here last time, only to fluff the start. I think he was off last time, but anyway, the fluff the start. 3 or 4 runs back. Today's jockey was a bit unlucky on him at Wolves when he got a bit squeezed out. I think if he hits the lids today with not a lot of pace on, he has to go close if not winning. He's shown enough to indicate he still has a pulse. That's probably all you need in this race.
Which is it, John?
Mighty Gurkha.
Mighty Gurkha, the Watson horse with the good kid on, Taylor Fisher, yeah.
Yeah, I just think, I said, the lad's had a fail up of him as well. He knows what's required now as well. Horse goes well here. I don't think there's a lot not to like. And he'll do from me with me 1 pointer.
Okay, 9-2 again with Port Vale. So good luck with that, John. For my 1 pointer, I am heading also to Lingfield. This is more of a bit of a guess up, really. I like the fact that Cresta de Vega in the novice has been kept in training by owner Mark Chan. That's interesting in itself. The reason I say this is because all his scrap he always sends to the sales all the time. I've checked his history. All these sort of horses that aren't going to progress, they end up in the sales straight away. He doesn't mess about. And obviously, Kinross's owner, he doesn't like to own scrap. This is not an owner for scrap. So I just find it interesting. 442 days off that Rafe and Ralph have decided on bringing him back for this, which is interesting given how bad the race is. That's the other thing. The favourite, Crisford's let go for 38,000 guineas after just one run. And I was told that she was only 75 from the Gallop man. So you'd be disappointed to keep this horse in training that long, Cresta de Vega, if he couldn't dispose of these. Ralph gets them fit,
I'm very interested in this one as well, Lee.
Yeah, I mean, they sent it off 3-1 for debut, and it was 3-1 fav for a good Newbury maiden next time. So they obviously think a lot of it. Look, it's been gelded, might have had an issue. I've no idea. I'm just the guesser on that. But I think 11-4 is quite nice. That's with William Hill, Ladbrokes, Paddy's, Betfair, generally available. So, that's where I'm going with my 1 pointer. Bit of an out the box one because it might end up 6s and no money, but it's one of them that could go off, say, 5-4. John, do you think?
It could really. I mean, it's just a very, very interesting horse, isn't it?
I mean, the third in Monmeo is ungenuine. Pisanka's useless. In fact, the rest are useless. Fine Balance will run to probably 75 back at 7 furlongs. But you'd be disappointed if you were Mark Chan keeping it for 440 days. And it's never had a sales entry. It's never, ever had a sales entry, which is another positive. So he's never thought about selling this. So yeah, that'd be my guess there in the 145. So that's round 1. John, I'll swing it straight back round to you for round 2.
Right, this is a fairly simple one, really. I've gone with the 12.35 and Aurora Dawn. This caught the eye on debut. Normal improvements for Frankie Vaughan, I should say, a bang on the premises, really. And I just think this is fairly solid each way. Bets only 1 point each way.
Yeah, again, it's a race that won't take a lot of winning. Hazel Bear probably looks about 70-ish. Ray Vaughan, I know Gay Kellaway told a friend of mine that this is Ray Vaughan definitely works to 70, 75 at home, and that's what it's running to. That'll be trying. So if you think there's potential in this, John, it should pick these up, shouldn't it? If it's going to step forward, then it's one of these where it could be a good bet for Dead Walker. Just looking at prices for you, John, just to make sure. Aurora is 9-2 generally available. You're 2 on the nose, did you say?
No, 1 each way.
Each way wankering. Yep, it's terrible from you as always. So Aurora Dawn for John to kick round 2 off. Andy Richmond, coming to you.
We are going to Wincanton. Forgotten leading time of the race. Yeah, 1:30. Celeb Delan is the name of the horse. Philip Hobbs got a good record in the race. Won the race 3 times before. 2015 with Filbert, 2018 with Cape Adventure, 2020 with Gala Ball. Runs Celeb Delan this time, and he ran a very good race last time out in a veterans chase behind Ramses Detaille. More of him later in that veterans chase at Sandown. He was. I thought he ran really well in what was a pretty decent race, because Ramses Detaille got an ideal ride, a nice attacking one for Warwick, which is always the best way round there. The second and third, Durasha Counter was a former Ladbrokes Trophy winner. Calypso Colons was a fairly useful handicap chaser. They gave the former a very solid look for the grade. The trio were all ridden from the front, and it was the way the race developed that would not have suited Celeb Delan at all, who was dropped out, raced well off the pace. And as those of you who like your in-running betting will know, that dropped out horses off not particularly strong paces around Warwick ain't a lot of good. Celeb Delan was very strong in the betting, never really going to be suited by the race was run, was given plenty to do against rivals who had the run of the race, and the winners, they all look pretty well handicapped. Now, he was a 3-time winner for the Hobbs Yard last season, including a Warwick win over 2.5 miles. His winning spree only ended at the Cheltenham Festival. This was his first foray into Veterans Company, and it was over a trip 3 miles, which he'd not tried before. It was hard to say it didn't suit, he didn't stay, but I think he's better back at sort of 2.5. Should get a good pace to aim at here. Race the trainer obviously likes. I think he'll run really well. Have a couple of points on the nose. Celeb Delan.
Yeah, lovely, strong travelling beast. This 5-2 for Andy. Probably some mileage for you in running players as well. If he gets in a good rhythm, he's probably going to trade very, very short at some point, I would imagine, if you do like an in and out. So 5-2 for Andy, 2 points win. Thank you for that. Before we come to Jack to finish off the round, I will go next. With a bit of an obvious one, goes in the big race of the day, the Tolworth, and I'm very keen on Authorised Speed for Gary Moore. 7-4. There was bigger this week, 9-4, which I thought was tremendous. 7-4's still a little bit of value for me. I'd have him probably a little bit short on that, around 11-8, that sort of mark. So 7-4, if you can get hold of it, you'll probably get a little bit bigger on the exchanges as well, because of all the money for him. But I think he's a really, really good horse. He's got such an engine. Can pull his nuts off. His jumping technique's still got work to do, but because of his engine, I just think he gets away with it and beats these. It's not a bad field. We'll come on to it in more detail later, I'm sure, with you guys. But I do think Authorised Speed is certainly the best, the right fav. I can see him going off about 5-4 SP tomorrow. So 7-4 is fine if you can get on with William Hill and Spoil Sports and Port Vale. I think if, as long as he settles okay, he'll win the Tolworth. Bold statement, but he'll win. As long as he settles better than he has, then I think he's the likely winner. Jack Veitch.
Right, we're back up to Leafy Lingfield for the 220. Taking a bit of a flyer at one here. So Horse in Question's Pistoletto. Very highly tried. You know, you'll know him. He's been around the block, danced every dance. But I think we might have caught him on a going day. That's the hope anyway. So he's back down to a mark of 81, back up to 12, which I think is probably about his right trip. Last win came over course and distance back in April of last year, and I think it's just one of those where they're clearly looking for the day, and I'm hopeful today is the day. I'd keep a very close watch on the machine to see if he's a massive late drifter, and then probably you know what's gonna happen there. But just I urge anyone before if you are going to take this often incorrect advice, to go and watch his last run, which was also at Lingfield. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Paul Mulrennan horse at Newcastle the other day, the one where they took him into the stewards and as always did very little, but this was nearly on that level. You know, jockey took an extremely hard pull round the bend, and he was never off the bridle and finished a cushy third, and they actually dropped him £1 for that day, which I found pretty incredible. But yeah, back down to 81. Horse last one off 92. I think if this is a going day, you know, the sort of 7-1 that this has opened up could well end up being a kind of 2-1, you know, slightly bigger than that touch. But yeah, see what the betting's like. But I'm happy to chance my arm, and 2-point win for that one, please.
Good stuff to finish the round. 7-1 generally available. Bad looking running last time. Yes, I remember the race. It did certainly not get a clean trip at all. And like you say, gets the breaks tomorrow and the market speaks. Could be an interesting one with all that back class in spades. Okay, 3-point round now. This is the best bets. Andy, I'm coming to you to kick us off with a 3-pointer. Right.
Well, you know, I'm a veteran myself, so I've got to go into veterans chase, haven't I? I could probably get into this actually. I think I'm old enough now.
I think you'd win it.
Not at the moment. As I'm certainly carrying several pounds overweight at the moment. I don't think although I'd want the whip to be used in the forehand position, not the backhand. But I think I'm gonna split my stakes here, but more on one than the other. And the one I'm going to go with is Prime Venture. And they just look like they've set this horse up for this. Won it last year off a mark of 130. If you look through his form, I mean, he was 5th in a Welsh Grand National off 139. He's been 6th in a Scottish Grand National off 135. It's not that long ago. They're giving him 2 runs over hurdles this year, admittedly off lower marks, under the trainer's younger daughter, Eleanor Williams, both claiming 7. The horse hasn't been off a yard either time, to be honest with you. Both on soft ground. He'll get soft ground here. They put the cheap pieces back on. He's going to get a great pace to run at. Certainly like a couple of points on him. And the other one, and I mean, this is either going to fall out the back of the telly or win this, is Q-Star Sivela, because Venetia, I'll get my Venetia mention in for John, because I know how much he loves to see her on TV. Don't know what outfit she'll be wearing tomorrow, but she's won this with Houblon des Obeaux. I mean, this horse won an Ultima, 5 years ago for Nick Williams. He was back in the ruck on his first run for Venetia after a 595 days absence when behind St Xavier at Haydock. But Houblon des Obeaux actually ran in a very similar race ran down the field in another handicap chase just before Christmas, and then went and hacked up here over by 15 lengths. So it could be a case of history repeating itself. Q-Star Civil has been dropped another £3 for that return effort, which was very much likely needed. He's off 127 now, and he, having finished second to course specialist D Sauber, of an £8 higher mark over course and distance. It was only 4 starts back, and he's also £7 lower than when runner-up at the April meeting at Cheltenham in 2021. That was only on his penultimate start. So I'm going to have a couple of points on Prime Venture and a point on Q-Star Sivela at the best prices.
Yeah, so two on Prime Venture at 5-1 and 1 on Q-Star at 9-1. That's with Ladbrokes and Coral, the old entertain firm. Disgraceful firm. But anyway, yeah, so good stuff, Andy. I like your reasons. Prime Venture, obviously, a very easy winner last year. So Andy's hoping for a revisit to 12 months ago for his main selection. Good stuff, mate. Right, I'll kick us off next, then Jack, and then I'll leave John till last for his fanfare. We go to Sunday, again, the Lawlers for my best bet. And I love Jack's preview, so I'm not going to go on too much because I think he summed it up with Irish Point. I think that should be a little bit shorter. Grange Clare West should be bigger. But there's one I like at a price, and this is one of my favourite horses in training at the moment. I love it. It's Dracula, not Dracula's, Noel Mead's Affordale Fury. I'm getting mixed up with De Bruyne Olsen, sorry. It's 12-1 generally available. This for me is a very, very good horse. I was really taken by what he did at Galway. I liked his attitude. It's one of these, you will not beat me kind of attitudes. And what I liked last time against Dawn Rising, who was a shorter price than he is, which is wrong because American Mike and Affordale Fury literally went hammer and tongs from a long way out, literally just punished each other. And Affordale Fury had beaten off American Mike, and Dawn Rising coming round the home bend were pushed along some 15 lengths behind, going nowhere. But because they'd fought so valiantly for a long way, cutting each other's throats, Dawn Rising just picked them off. And I know Affordale Fury felt at the last. Affordale Fury wouldn't have beaten the winner because obviously they were quite tired, himself and American Mike, but he would have beaten American Mike. And that for me, I think that's testament to him. He's a real. He will not give up. He'll thump. He's one of these sluggers, and I like a slugger on ground that will be soft, heavy. So Affordale Fury at 12-1 is a huge price. I would probably have him around the 13-2 mark. I'd put him in, round about the price of, I like the way they're thinking. Obviously, I wouldn't have him in front of Irish Point. But at 12-1 each way, a pleasure, I have to play. And it's a 1.5 points each way, a wanker bet for the three, because I know how hard he tries. So that, for me, I think will be good enough to get him in the places. I love his style of racing. That's what I like, the sluggards on that sort of ground. So that's my best bet. 1.5 each way, Affordale Fury and the Lawlers. Okay, Jack Beach.
Right, well, if you can be bothered to stay up for this one, then fair play to you. You might want to stick the pink button on, depending on how your day's gone. But we're heading over to Kempton for the 8 o'clock. It's the 1 mile London Mile Series qualifier. I do worry about these qualifiers at times. You never quite know who's trying and who isn't, but we'll soon find out tomorrow. A bit of split stake wankering, I'm afraid to say for myself. I've got two darts at this one. Main one is a horse called Sun King. Really interesting horse, this one. So he was formerly with Aidan O'Brien, changed hands at the horse in training sale in the autumn and went over to George Bowie for, I think, 120 grand. I was told, interestingly, and it might be worth noting, he was all set to go to Australia but failed a vet exam. But as we know, those vet exams in Oz are kind of even more stringent than Betfair's affordability checks. So take that with a pinch of salt, perhaps. But anyways, changed hands and gone over to an interesting crowd, Opulence Thoroughbreds. I've been watching these guys carefully. I know they've been around for a couple of years, but they've been really targeting this all-weather winter. I was looking at their last 5 runners: first, third, second, first. 3 of those were George Bowie. So they're clearly trying to hit the ground running. One of those actually was another Irish recruit out of Jesse Harrington's yard. So they're clearly a shrewd enough bunch. Really interesting horse, this. He's been off the track for a while. Last seen at the Royal meeting, he was a decent third in the Golden Gates on the Saturday. The winner of that was a horse called Miss the Cut, also with George Bowie, who I really rate as a probably Group 2 touching Group 1 horse in the coming year. But I think sort of mark of 89 looks really lenient. The 4th in that race, horse called Groundbreaker, is now rated 99. Another horse called Blue Trail, who's a little bit further down the pack, is high in the 90s too. He's been gelded and off a layoff, as I mentioned, but I delved into the stats a little bit. Bowie does well with these types: 23% strike rate, 1.07 actual over expected. So, he can clearly get one ready. It is a bit of a trappy affair, but I thought he'd open a little bit shorter than he has done, and the sort of 11-2 5s looks very fair. So that's 2 points of my 3. And then I just wanted to have a 1 point saver on a horse called Shoot to Kill, who's a much bigger price at sort of 25s, I think. I think 84 is a decent enough mark for this one. I think there's possibly some more juice in that. The return to a mile is definitely positive. Clocked up a good string of wins on the all-weather last winter before having a pretty disappointing turf campaign. Hasn't been seen since May, but I think the return to both the mile and the all-weather is definitely a boost. I mean, if you look at his stats, 10 out of 17 of his starts on the all-weather, he's either won or hit the frame compared to 4 of 16 on turf. So I think it could well be a nice starting point for him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he outrun those big odds. So yeah, 2 points on Sun King and 1 on Shoot to Kill, please.
Good stuff. I agree with you on Shoot to Kill. That's such a good price. 2 points, 11-2 with Port Vale Sun King. 1.25 to 1 general Shoot to Kill. Like you said, back on the all weather. That's a nice shout, because in these sort of races, like you've just pointed out, you're probably going to get 1 or 2. Well, more than 1 or 2. Probably 2 or 3 that are just looking for weight off rather than weight on. So I like it. I like your choices. Good stuff. 120,000 opulence thoroughbreds paid for Sun King. So yeah, like you say, it's an interesting, shrewd outfit that's having lots of winners. Okay, John Lang finishes off.
This might finish me off, actually. This is in the 123 at Newcastle.
Yeah.
I'm over the sticks.
Ooh.
And the horse in question is O'Toole, which is one of my 5 to follow horses.
It is.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. Now, he's a horse I've kept an eye on since his bumper win at Fairyhouse, actually, where I was quite impressed with him. He followed that up with a 4 3/4 length second to Kill Cruet at Punchestown, and then commenced on a novice hurdle campaign where he raced in a very, very immature manner throughout his novice hurdle campaign. The horse has got chaser written through him like Blackpool Rock. He's starting off here after several entries in beginners' chases in Ireland, where I kind of got the impression he was probably going to run into some Lions chase type or something, so I'm highly delighted they're coming here and running in this rather than risking bumping into something in Ireland, I think this is a Cheltenham novice. I think this is a Turner's horse. And running off 130 here, I can't have this beat.
Wow. Love the confidence.
Yeah, I really look forward to this one going over fences. I think he'll jump like Colin Stagg. I've got a lot of time for the horse, as I say. I think this is a proper Cheltenham prospect, and 3.20.
Lovely stuff, John. Obviously, has been nibbled at. Was as high as 9-2, now 7-2 generally available. Is O'Toole for Jonas Lang to finish us off. And interestingly, the same combination, the Muniers and Crawford had a nice winner at Ayr earlier on this week with the hurdler up there. So interesting selection. Lovely confidence.
He was on my Tuesday as well, and if he punched up, I wouldn't be surprised if he nipped out under a penalty.
Yeah. He was on my list as well. He was the 4th on my list as well.
Yeah. Well, so that's it. So I love that, finishing on a confident choice, arguably and possibly one of the most confident choices out of all our best bets. Which do you like, listeners? Which you're going to oppose and support. That's up to you. We give the reasonings, and it's up to you what you do. We move on to the television action tomorrow. If you don't fancy watching Edge Chamberlain ITV, you can always not bother like I do every week. And I usually have to. I usually have to ask you, John, what's being said.
You just watch the film,
but we've got the 8. We've got the 8. You probably have Alice. Alice will be on tomorrow, you'd think, for you, John.
Oh yeah, that thing of Granny's running. Yes.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. So there we go. So Alice doing the barn dance. 1:15 Sandown is where we go for the first television preview. It's the Read Nicky Henderson's Unibet blog handicap chase.
Oh, what's that rated?
He doesn't write that, surely. He's too pissed all the time.
I'm going to say he's more pissed than me, and that's saying something.
It's got to buy gin or something, shouldn't it?
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
His blog tomorrow will just say, it's heavy,
Can't run Constitution Hill on that. It's too soft. It's too soft. It's too quick or too soft. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Nicky Henderson loves just when it's just right, Anyway, 1:15 then. Jemmy Randy's 5-2, 5-7-2. PJB, who was going nicely and jumping nicely when then falling last time. I know because I backed him in running, so that was sickening. Andy? I'm coming to you first because I reckon
it was your money I took then, Lee.
You did. You took it. You had it.
Yeah.
You had it. You did.
Yeah. So because I laid him just before he fell over, actually.
Well, this is it in life. You need the breaks, and that's it. Swings and roundabouts, and this, that, and the other. Anyway, you had me. Go on. What do you think, Andy?
I quite like the Venetia horse, Jemmy Rand, but it's a bit of a rising class, isn't it? That's the only thing that slightly worries me. There's one or two in here that you could certainly give a chance to. It wasn't a race I had a massively strong opinion on. As I say, Gemirand with the top at 9-4 is not great. I don't like horses coming off the back of a fall, but PJB, I suppose you give him a bit of a chance. Precious Eleanor was quite interesting. She bounces back, and the stable have been Henry Daly's yard been in terrific form. To say it wasn't a race I had a particular fancy for. Venetia's horse at 9-4, it's not particularly, it's not going to win me any prizes for punditry, but I think it probably looks the most likely winner. But I just don't like the price. I'll probably leave the race alone, to be quite honest with you. Right,
interesting. So Charlie Deutsch said last time about Gemirand after him winning. He said that basically this is a horse you have to let him do his own thing. He doesn't listen to the reins. So I find this interesting. So he just basically does his own thing according to Deutsch. He's got he's a passenger apparently. That's what he said on the television. I noted it down after the interview. And I just thought it was interesting that the horse is clearly not a full shilling for him to say that. And just interestingly, why did you lay PJB then last time out in running?
I just didn't think it was going particularly well, to be honest with you. I thought it was just a false price. It was more a price thing, and maybe I got a little bit lucky with it as well. But it was an awful long way to go. I didn't think it was travelling particularly well at the time, and it was more a price thing because I just always thought the way it runs, I could get out of it. I mean, I had it double the price of my tissue, so a lot of the stuff I do, I'll bet on price
rightfully so. Yeah.
Against everyone else. On that juncture, I'm not a massive, I must admit, like yourself, Lee, I'm not a massive watcher of ITV Racing, but I thought that Richard Hoyles, and I only caught this on the excerpts on Twitter, did two excellent pieces on how to compile a tissue.
He did.
Yeah, very good.
I haven't seen them. They were very, very good. And I know it's a thing that I get asked a lot when people talk to me, about racing and how do you compile a tissue? Well, you've just basically you've got to have a go, and it becomes with experience. But he gave a very good explanation, and I thought the explanation of just literally first of all putting the horses in the right order without worrying anything about prices at all was probably a good starting point. But if you haven't seen them, go and take a watch. Excellent explanations from Richard on both pieces.
Indeed, yeah, and it's nice to see that the word betting is not always a dirty word. I was worried about that. Yeah, the word betting got mentioned at ITV. Yeah, a very strange occurrence. Indeed. Right, you two, Jack, John, any views on the 1:15?
Yeah, I've go on, John. Sorry.
Well, I just kind of like the Venetia one, but I'm not actually convinced Marraine will be a resistance there.
That was my very point. That was my very point, because we might have found one of the very few that probably doesn't like it. The slop here, looking at his form, it's all on kind of good to soft, and he was pulled up here on the heavy stuff a couple of years ago. So I would a word of warning anyway if it does get very bad.
Yeah, and before anyone says, it's ran well on very soft in France, well, we know they put very soft down every time in France. And I've watched races in France when it said very soft, and it looks good to fur. They care less than our clocks do. Anyway, good stuff, chaps. 150 then, that's the betting operator of the year, Unibet, apparently. Betting operator of the year.
Did they vote for themselves?
I think so.
It's like when every chip shop says that they were chip shop of the year or whatever. Like all of them claim to be.
Yeah, you can
get a bet. You can get a bet on in the chip shop, though.
More likely, yeah.
Actually, that's a really good marketing point. Just say your chip shop of the year, and no one's going to check. No one. Well, some might, but then the ones that don't will go, it's chip shop of the year. Let's call off there. It's definitely the best marketing ploy ever that you could just fake instantly.
What's that mega chippy place that advertises on YouTube and everybody goes, they're always queuing around the block? What are you saying?
No.
Mega chippy or other.
Is that the one with the lad who brings his table and chairs and he sits outside?
Bingley Mega Chippy.
That's it, yeah. I know what you're on about, John.
The bloody stuff looks shit. Honestly, I've seen loads of excerpts on YouTube, and honest to God, it looks like the cheapest battered sausages you'd ever find in your life. The staff are a bunch of fucking ghouls. I tell you what, if you look at the health and safety notice, I bet it says something like, in the event of fire, you'll all end up better looking.
Jack, coming to you about chippies, right? Why is it Londoners can't get fish and chips right?
Well, what's wrong with it? What do you mean?
Well, northern fish and chips are miles better. Everyone knows this. There's certain things the south do better. Not much, but
it's about a third of the price, so you've got that bit. But yeah. you lot don't seem to have Savoloys up there. That's a real southern thing, isn't it? I can never find.
You get Savoloys?
Can you? I lived up north for a while. I could never find one, but I probably didn't go to Binley.
Well, I've got a foot in both camps here, haven't I? Really?
You have, yeah.
You have, yeah.
So, fish and chips, yeah. It's a load of old rubbish when Northerners say, haven't you got anything moist? Because we have, and then you offer them pie and mash with a nice bit of liquor, and they all go, "Oh, can't eat that."
Well, I went in a pie and mash shop, and I asked for something moist, and she gave me a quick flash of the old flange.
Well,
it looked like she'd taken more action than Hellman Province.
Somehow, I knew we were going to go down that route when I mentioned moist.
It's only a matter of time, isn't it?
It is. It doesn't take much on this show to boost our Apple Clean rating, which we're still very proud of.
That went years ago.
No, we're still there apparently, aren't we?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think we're still there as Apple Clean, and rightfully so, as bar stewards, telling it like it is. Clean.
Two astonishing things in the last 12 months. Our Apple Clean rating and Liz Truss getting in 10 Downing Street.
Indeed. Right, 150 Sandown. Come on. Grey Diamond is Sam Thomas's, and this is really solid form, is it not, chaps? 9 to 4-5. But the recent third to Amarillo Sky, where that horse has bolted up and rated in the 150s, and then Fugitive has gone and thrashed Golden Whiskey and he's rated 143. It's hard to knock that, isn't it?
He missed one out there as well. What about Maliistic, who was pulled up in that race that went and won the Castleford?
Absolutely. Sorry. Yes, indeed. Indeed.
So yes, it is very strong form. That's a race I'm looking forward to, actually.
It is. It's a good race, Sunday.
Because you can throw Corrigine Rock in there, who was pretty impressive last time out. I know it was a egg and spoon race for Sandown off 109. What did he win off? 119 last time out in a 0 to 125.
Yeah.
And he's on 128 off a 0 to 145 this time out. But did half do well because it was a contested pace all the way round. And I thought, this is good. You know when you see him go off a million, you're thinking, a million miles an hour, 3 or 4 of them up front, and you're thinking, well, he's got this beat, Derek Fox. And he didn't. It just kept galloping the thing. And I thought it was a pretty good performance, actually. The one out of the ones in single figures I'd have a question mark about is Ferrero Bamboo. That to me, if I was looking at the prices now, which I am, you're sort of 9 to 4 plus on Grey Diamond, Corrigine Rock, you're what, 111 to 4, 3 to 1, and Ferro Bamboo at 7 to 2. That looks a little bit too short to me. The sort of the fly in the ointment is the last day, because you don't quite know what he's going to do. When he's good, he's very good. But I think if you gave me a bet in it, I was quite impressed with Corrigine Rock last time out. I thought he did really well. But it's just the step up in grade, and whether there's any value at 3 to 1 is debatable. But I think it's an interesting race. Again, it's one of those that probably at the prices I'd rather watch. But if somebody forced me Corrigine Rock or a small lay on Faro Bamboo, because I'm just not completely convinced about that at the moment.
I can't argue with that at all. I think it's a good assessment. Jack, John?
Yeah, agree with Andy, really. I mean, I think, everyone just punts for niches in the slot, don't they? It's like Carl Burt's got great 2-year-olds, or Willie's in the bumper. It's just everything will get completely over bet, won't it, tomorrow? And that 7-2 looks very short. So yeah, wouldn't really have an opinion other than potentially, like Andy said, a small lay on that one.
No, John?
Yeah, probably back Ferrero Bamboo.
Well, let's cut out the
Great choice.
middle man there, John.
Yeah, that's it, John. Stick it up them. Like straight up. That's it. Just yeah. Tell it like it is. Fuck them. The 225, the Tolworth. I'll sit this one out. Obviously, I've tipped up the obvious. I'd like to hear all your 3 thoughts though on the race, please.
I'll let the boys go first. Go on,
John. You go first.
Okay, Lastro Boy hasn't been highly tried, but I think this one has a bit of potential. Done more on the clock already than most of these. Coped with a slog round Dross Lass. Ought to cope with anything the weather slings at him here. I thought this was interesting at 12 because I don't fancy the Dracula horse.
The Brazil, the Arctic Brazil.
Yeah, I watched this one, and I think it's still very immature. It wouldn't surprise me if this one's jumping fell apart tomorrow. I'm well against that, and I think knocking that one out, I think this Lastro Boy is quite attractive each way.
Yeah, good stuff. Jack, Andy?
Well,
I'm with you, Lee.
Yeah. I'm with John.
Split camp.
I think Lastro Boy is way overpriced. Authorised Speed has already beaten Horserace. He beat him in a bumper, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think Authorised Speed has got a little bit more about him than maybe Horserace. Arctic Brazil, yeah. I mean, you don't see many Irish horses come over here and run in this, do you? I can't remember the last one. They don't seem to really sort of target the race at all. And been some decent horses win this. I think he might be a bit too speedy, Arctic Brazil. I'm with John. I think Lastro Boy having one round the famously named Dross Lass might actually be the one. I'd probably try and trade Lastro Boy and cover with Authorised Speed. I think that would be my way of doing it.
Yes, I kind of want Authorised Speed to win because, again, displaying my terrible bad luck, I managed to get this beat on debut with an extremely large stake after being told it was an absolute machine. And they said, just literally have what you want on. And it was a terrible ride. It got terribly hampered at a crucial point, and I managed to get it beat by Grozny. And I just look back at that, and I've been hurt ever since, but I've followed the horse closely. And the physical development of him, Jack, coming to you like this horse as well?
Yeah, no, big fan of this one, Lee, to be honest. I mean, he's short enough, but, like the other lads said, I think Horserace is just priced wrongly. It's priced that because he's a Nichols horse, really. Arctic Brazil, yeah, it's a bit of a weird bit of placement, and that would catch the eye, but I'm not overly interested in him. I think Lastro Boy was probably the other that looks priced incorrectly, but no, really like Authorised Speed. Can't knock what he's done over hurdles so far. Got that bumper form with Facile Vega, which was on absolute slop. I don't know if you remember that champion bumper day. They nearly called the race off. So he'll handle this stuff fine. I don't know if you heard the interview with the owner on Nick Luck earlier this week, but I think they sounded quietly bullish, I must say. So yeah, I'd be happy to row in with you on this one. Good
stuff. 3 o'clock then. Andy's already said how much he loves the veterans. He loves this race. This is where Andy's got the crackers out, the pate, the cheese, the grapes, drop a whiskey to go with it. He's looking forward to this with aplomb. He might even put his earphones on his training gear down for this. He might just sit and savour it. So the veterans chase, Andy has gone for Prime Venture and Coup Star Civilar. What do us three think? I'm with Andy on Prime Venture. That was sort of, I got about 6 horses to maybe mix and put into the 3 on this evening, and that was one of them. But I was quite annoyed that it kept getting knocked in price. But the chances of that is obvious. I think Prime Venture, I really like the chances of that. Jack, John, thoughts on this?
John, I'll let you go first. I know you love these races.
Yeah, it won't take long. Veterans Chase, you can chuck with his punts in a bag for me.
Good to have a bit of diversity on the programme, though, John, you see.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, very ageist is John. Is the dog in or out, John?
The dog's in, definitely. And the telly's probably off.
The dog might be running in it.
Well, I'd probably have a fiver on the dog, to be honest.
Jack?
If you can find the finisher in this, you've probably found the winner. That's about as much as I know.
Yeah, no, we're bowing to Andy here, really, because I think this is his race, and I think he's laid himself out for this. I think you can tell. The 3:30.
If there's a horse that's had more than 3 seasons chasing, I just can't be asked with them.
Yeah.
I think they all have in this.
This is what I mean. There's too much to look at, and just tell them out to fuck off.
John, you love an old board chaser, don't you? Anyway, 3:35 to finish at Sandown. It's a very interesting handicap hurdle. This I was looking at quite 2 or 3 in here. I'm thinking, interesting. I thought it was very hard to solve. What do my panelists think on this?
What price would Palladium be still with Popeye?
Well,
this has been backed actually, and I'm not surprised. It's been dropped basically for having some time off.
Does old Popeye send the nutcases to Polygundra? Because I mean, Santini.
Good old Santini,
He's not the first, is he? He's not the first. Has he had a winner for the King yet? Anyway,
got a runner tomorrow, isn't he?
He had one today.
Oh, it was today.
Rain.
Yeah.
Going well, and then old Stonehands pulled it up after about the third
pass. He had a jumps winner then, the King.
Don't think so. Not to my knowledge. I mean, I ain't been paying full attention to every single race over jumps this winter, but I don't think so.
We've had a bit of a residents' meeting up here actually, and we've decided if he gets off the mark with a Derby win this year, we're going to have a street party with jelly and ice cream. Nothing to do with the King winning the Derby. We're just trying to flush his fucking brother out.
You only get this on the Bastards. You don't get this anywhere else on any other show. This is why you listen, of course. Andy, Jack, care to interject in this?
I quite like ICO of the Nichols thing. He's interesting, but I think the market might tell you the story there. There's one, like you, Lee. I think there's 1 or 2 interesting ones here. In the Air is also interesting as well. He won't. The Moors, they do well. They could have a very good day here tomorrow, can they? Do like a Sandown winner. In the Air is interesting. ICO is interesting. Again, tricky little race, isn't it? And Jella and DeJalo could bounce back from last time out. Maybe they just forced him to run him a bit too quickly last time out when he got stuffed at Haydock. And he did pull quite hard that day as well. I think at the prices are tempted to have a little tickle on ICO because he's quite an interesting horse. And they ran him in some decent races last year. It'd only be a small place, and it could be, could be Sandown hurdles heavy then because. Of course, the hurdles track will ride a lot softer than the chase track because they've watered the shit out of it all year, haven't they?
Yeah, indeed.
That track.
It is. You're right. You're totally right. Yeah, that is the issue. Obviously, we've seen Ascot riding quick this winter because all the patrons are sipping champagne, more champagne, sir, on the inner chase track, and they're not maintaining it throughout the summer. So of course. Popeye's moaned, they've all moaned, and that's where we're at with the state of the British racing game. Jack Veitch, have you anything to add to Andy's comments?
Yeah, no, I like Dicio as well. Actually, he's definitely the one that catches the eye on the page. Anyway, he was sort of one-time triumph hope, I think, and then he got rolled by the Queen's, or the former Queen's horse, Pied Piper. Now, we were talking about it, didn't we? So yeah, he's been off for a while. I was just reading some quotes, and Nichols has kind of said he's been a bit behind in his work, might need the run, and they plan to go chasing. So whether that's just a cue that he's not really going to be asked for very much, there we go. But yeah, tough old race. I wouldn't have massive opinion.
Good stuff. Okay, we move over then to the Carrot Crunchers down the Dorset way, the Somerset way. Wincanton, 1:30 is the first race there, and Andy's already tipped his hat. Yeah, he's entered the ring with Celeb Dalen, the strong traveller. Another strong travelling horse in the race is Messier des Herbeux of Alan King. Not getting any younger, obviously quite difficult to train given the absences. Elixir de Nuts and Kilteely Briggs are the pace to the race. Will they slit each other's throats? What do we think here, chaps?
Magic Saint runs off a net mark of 136 after starting last year in the 150s. I think Pumpkinhead will have him ready for this, and there's no point taking 7 off for a skull round. I could say that going close.
No, Freddie Gingel's very useful, conditional.
Yeah, you wouldn't stick him up if you're going to stop it, would you?
No, not at all. No, yeah, it's a tricky little race, that. I like all opinions on this. Jack, to finish this off?
My only opinion is that Elixir de Nuts is one of my top 5 favourite names of horses in training, really. I don't have anything more to add than that, unfortunately. Just a cracking name, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I'll lick of the nuts.
If you like names, you should have a comb through some of the college college American football names.
It's bizarre, doesn't it?
Actually, there are some very, very strange names there. I think my favourite name of all time is Webster Slaughter.
That'd be late. Lane don't watch it, but if he did, that'd be his man. Webster Slaughter. We like that one.
One of my all-time favourites. Names.
Cracking. Names are getting weird.
Absolute corkers, and there's some corking ones coming up in the draft this year, but more of that another time.
Absolutely. 205 Wincanton is the Virgin Bet 5's handicap chase. Favourite is Destalil at 5-2. In turn to Civil, 7-2 for Jane Williams. Another crick. That is a bugger off the bridle. That'll travel like a absolutely. It'd be like a wet dream for everyone that's in dreams. But then it always disappoints in the end when you don't get the fair maiden.
Travel like Alan Wicker watching an in-flight porno.
Absolutely, and it's like that watching another crick run, it's like life itself. You know, you this is good. Oh, this is good. And then it's like Roy Hodgson enters the Roy Hodgson gif enters the room when another crick decides no on the running. In first time blinds, he'll probably bolt up now and everyone's laughing. But he's 9-2, so we've got an in the race. We can't be taking 9-2 another crick, Andy, can we?
No, but I mean, this intended, so it's similar. Why is this 7-2? What's going on there?
Another nutcase, really. You know, a very, very, very strong pulling horse. Destalil's won its last 2, but he's 10 and probably high in the handicap now for the Witch.
I mean, it's one of those races that should cover, that should carry a health warning, shouldn't it? Or a wealth warning, probably. Yeah. I mean, you look at it and you just think, it's one of those races I often described as you want to lay everything.
Andy, I know for a fact you're there. You're putting short. This is the race for you where it's like one of the field lays at like 1.23 or 1.28 the lot, and you're happy to just leave it sit up. Well, what Scott done, and if you get 2 done, you're in clover. And that's the game.
It is a bit like that. I mean, another crick did win this last year of 122, and he's now of 119, and they have put the blinkers on. But I mean, like you said, you really wouldn't trust this lot as far as you could throw them, could you?
No.
I don't think the tracksuit's not available. He's too short, and most of the others. I mean, we get John's dog out.
Well, I could throw some of these at fucking long distance, to be fair. Like, so.
Yeah. So it's one of those where I think if you've got something else to do, go and put the kettle on, let the dog in, get your cheese and pate ready, anything like that, or just stick a couple of lines in at odds on and hope that two of them or three.
Stick a couple of lines on the coffee table.
yeah.
Prince Harry round yours, is he?
Yeah.
Have a quick fucking blast.
Yeah.
This is the race as well. When you've just had your blast, John, you've just had your two, right? This is the race where Luke Harvey then pipes up and champions the game winner and said, "What a game performance that was." I love that when they do that, and it's like when the music stops with these two rogues on the running, and it's like, ooh, heads up, heads down. What a game performance by the winner!
I won't be bothered if I've had a tilt. I'll be looking at the faces coming out.
Right. The finale, and it happens to be a lovely odds-on shot. This could be racing blogger's dream. Right, Twitter. What's the best bet of the day? As
give you 50 quid if you tip it or something.
Yeah,
like
blogger
that.
might get Stallions bail money ready, and get him out of wherever he is right now. Where is the Stallion, everyone?
I had a brief chat with the Stallion at Royal Ascot actually, and he alluded to the fact I think those two are no longer an item as such.
Yeah, big falling out. It could be a case, John. Could it be a case of the Stallion taking the limelight?
I think it was more a case of Gamcare saying, "What the fuck is?"
Anyway, so Chianti Classico is the 8-13 Fav, absolutely hammered. Has been bigger prices than this, and clearly they think this is the proverbial banker of the television schedule. Thoughts, chaps?
Well, if you're losing on the day, just caution to the wind, put the telly off, and knock the shit out the missus or something. Because this could be a disaster in waiting, couldn't it, really? 8-13.
Yes.
After race. David
Bass, though, John, he don't miss. He likes a good thrash in the forearm.
I'd have thought they'd done a better idea would be to swap the two races round and put the 240 on at 3:15.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit weird, isn't it? The 240 is actually a more interesting race.
It's not the greatest race, but I think it might generate a little bit more interest.
Well, Ed Chamberlain and Alice are going to do well to get a story out of this, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, let's have a look at the 240 just out of interest. After Part 8 has been back from 12s into 13-2, which is annoying to me because that was my selection. 2/4. They've been half off, half not off, but they've managed to get 2 runs into the handicap mark. It was rated 81 on the flat. The rider, Mr. Gearoid, Gerard, I forget pronunciations. Norris, yeah, Gerard. He's a really good jockey for 7. He's a really good amateur jockey.
He's all right. He gave he gave one of Ruth Dobbins a good ride at Kelso the other day. Rathanur.
Yes.
He won on that. He's pretty decent, I tell you. He won on Harlem Soul as well for the same trainer.
I thought that was Icy there, didn't I?
To be honest, Icy might win on this. I mean, this is better than 100. This is better than 100. I thought this would be in the 110 to 115 bracket already. So I'm surprised to see it off 100. That's a very interesting runner. But what stopped me from going bananas, like Herbie did, was the Rain King of Alexandra Duns, because again, that's been given some absolutely nothing rides. And again, that was, what was that, 70 for Donica O'Brien, the fetus, that was rated 89ish, I think, on the flat, and Alex Dunn's got it off 73. That's only got 94. I mean, that's 14-1. If Choppers, she has a cracking set of teeth. If Choppers decides to get this ready, and this is the D-Day, the Rain King at 14s, I'll leave the dance floor to you guys now.
Well, I want to say these teeth now you mentioned them.
The good ones, really. Proper country, country fox hunting Choppers. Like literally, Mummy sends hugs. You know, it's the Tim Nice but dim.
What about the Amy Ryans?
Oh, much better. Alexandra Duns are just tremendous choppers.
Wow.
Yeah.
They are a big set of choppers. I must
They
admit.
are. Thoughts on this, Andrew and Jack, to finish us off?
There's a few float. I mean, you've picked out one that's floating around there. The other one, I thought Forster Frapp. You've got to be careful how you say that. One quite well last time. I know that could be in Jack's top 5 names, isn't it?
It's up there. Definitely up there.
Forster Frapp.
Good contenders out tomorrow for sure.
Forster Frapp.
Forster Frapp.
Imagine being Forster Frapp.
But what Force de Frapp? What's D? If it's German, D. What's
no idea?
In it there?
It's like the
there, isn't it? Force
the
the
wank
Frapp.
police, isn't it?
It's Force the Frapp. It's you saying Force the Frapp? Yeah.
That's the wank police. They come round and they think you're having a quick shuffle.
Force the Frapp, Elixir de Nuts, double.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I still moan, Jack, that they never allow. I tried to register it, but they refused. Fanny Schmeller, you know, the old German downhill skier, and I thought if we can get that through, that'd be just amazing.
Wasn't that a question on
the chairs?
And it caused Bradley Walsh to court
to melt down. Yeah. I mean that what a name for a skier that is. I mean that's incredible. I mean if I'd have got that name, it'd have been the most famous horse. Whatever ever I'd have registered it to, it'd have been the most famous horse in the UK.
Kuntz, must
yeah. Stefan Kuntz.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of people? The shepherds. Name the daughter Fanny. Come on. they're bigger bastards than the Dumpties calling their kid Humpty.
But it was only like the Neville's dad. It was called Neville, wasn't he?
Neville. Yeah.
How did that work out?
That's paid with a sense of humour, that, isn't it?
Right, we're out of time, folks. I hope you enjoyed this show. We certainly have, and we've had a good laugh and some selections, and we hope to line your pockets with silver. Hopefully you'll agree with our opinions, and if you don't agree with our opinions, you'll probably be more wealthy by going on the pink button this weekend. Have a great one and be lucky. We're back on Sunday with me, John and Chris as normal. Bye for now.